Welcome to the 81st episode of the Karstcast Moviecast. Jeff, Banjul is the capital of which country?
Say it again.
Banjul is the capital of which country?
I'm just gonna guess that you're not saying that perfectly.
It's spelled Banjul. Banjul. Banjul?
Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi. Banjo. Yeah.
This is hard.
Yeah.
Because normally you could be like, okay, this sounds like it's from this place, but this doesn't really sound like it's from any specific place.
I don't think you're gonna get it, to be honest. I don't have a lot of confidence.
All right, you ready? Uzbekistan.
No, it is the Gambia.
The Gambia.
Yep.
Yeah, that was my second guess.
Shucks. Well, yeah, cool. Speaking of like countries and cities, I've been getting really into GeoGuessr lately. Which is, we've been playing it for months now on the Patreon. Last night was the first night I just kind of popped it up myself and gave.
It's so fun.
It's a different experience when you're doing it yourself alone. I don't know why. Like, I go way too fast and just kind of impulsively do it, and I do horribly compared to when we're doing it together.
Yeah. So, did you buy like the premium subscription?
I did. I bought.
Okay. Yeah, because the free one is worthless. Because they don't use Google Maps, they use some like off-brand map company, and then sometimes you'll see a sign. Because I remember before I bought the premium, I would like see a sign. I'm like, okay, I know I'm in like Australia, and then I would be like Australia, and I'd be like, actually, you're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I'm like,
but if anyone wants a good YouTube channel recommendation, GeoWizard, who does GeoGuessr, he's insane. And he also has this series that I binged last night where he walked in a straight line through Wales, which meant just like him going through people's like yards and like farms and like crossing rivers, and he looks like he's miserable in it. It's an amazing series. He's so funny. So GeoWizard, if anyone wants a good YouTube channel that is more popular than I am.
I feel like though, like he's someone who doesn't have like his individual videos can pop off pretty easily.
Oh yeah, for sure. It can't be like a consistent, like I don't think he does like weekly things though, because I don't know if he.
Yeah, I think so I've seen him before, and I'm pretty sure what he does is he clips his Twitch live streams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
So if you're also looking for a Twitch recommendation,
GeoWizard.
Same guy.
Yeah. Lots happened in the. Well, you know what? Maybe we just shouldn't touch on the news. But I was gonna touch on the news, but it's just been a lot happening.
It's honestly, I feel like for the news, it's just type news into Google and that'll tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah, we're not telling anybody any new things here.
Yeah, I think everyone knows the news, and none of it's good.
I mean, some of it's like okay.
Some of it's fine.
Some of it's kind of funny, but well, yeah. It's just been there. It was just a really good night on Twitter that night when when things kind of popped off. It was like one of my friends compared it to the night that Ted Cruz liked the porn tweet, and that was one of the funniest nights I think.
That was
ever.
pretty funny.
I was losing my mind. Yeah, but anyways, that's kind of been my week. Jeff, how have you been since the last time we talked? I guess we talked yesterday.
We talked yesterday, and we played. It was for the patron hangout, which I think was our best patron hangout ever. Absolute
banger of a hang.
Yeah, we ended up playing GeoGuessr for like half an hour.
Yeah, it was a really fun time. I'm not gonna lie. So thanks to everyone who came out. That was a lot of fun. We honestly went for like 2 hours, which was unexpected. Usually we go for like 45 to an hour, but I thought I was going to sneeze.
Oh, you were about to sneeze,
Oh, my God. Wait, it's still there. Oh, shit. My allergies have been really bad at this house.
Do you think that your brown Patagonia thing just, like, attracts pollen since it looks so, like, fluffy and fibrous?
It's not that. Like, it's pretty... I don't know if you can see...
Oh, yeah, it just looks covered in pollen.
Yeah, it's... Gave you an allergic reaction there, just showing it in the... Yeah. It's very cozy, though.
It looks comfortable.
It's getting chilly here. I've just been feeling like exhausted. It's just been a mix of things happening this week. I've been really exhausted and like it's getting colder, so I've been cold and
yeah.
And I have not been eating
healthy.
Cold here. It's definitely not cold, and I wouldn't say unfortunately. I wish I was in Florida right now. Well, I don't. But
the thing is that I like when it's in like the 50s and 60s. And it's rarely that cold in Florida.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. Florida is also like humidity, you know.
Yeah, it's very humid.
Mm-hmm. What else? I got my mustache. It's really coming in right now. This and the sideburns.
Yeah,
I've been getting roasted a lot.
I'm not sure about the sideburns. I think the mustache works, but the sideburns.
Are you saying
I
should
remain
get rid of these?
Unconvinced.
Okay, because I kind of like. Well, I like the beard too.
The beard, I don't mind.
Okay.
I think you could keep the mustache and the beard, but the sideburns are a little bit.
They gotta go. Yeah. Well, they're drifting up here, and right now they just look like chops. You know.
Yeah. Oh no, you kind of look like Wolverine.
That's what everyone has been saying online.
Which, I mean, you could play into it if you do that for a Halloween costume, if Halloween is even a thing worth doing this year.
Yeah. And I can style my hair to make it like, I can really, you know, look at
you already kind of have it. Like, this is pretty much Wolverine's hairstyle in the movies. That's what I'm saying. Like, for Hugh Jackman. Like, it's pretty much already there.
Yeah, I look like
And
Wolverine.
Also, the brown fluffy sweater kind of looks like an actual Wolverine's pelt.
So I'm Wolverine in a lot of different ways, yeah.
Yeah, you're not playing the character Wolverine. You're playing an actual Wolverine.
That'll be my Halloween costume. Wolverine dressed as a Wolverine.
Yeah, or a Wolverine with Wolverine's head.
Yeah. He got revenge.
Or just Hugh Jackman in a brown Patagonia sweater.
And he's like, oh,
on
this
the set of
like
Wolverine, like in his trailer.
Wolverine. Yeah. Yep. Do you have any I doubt you do, but are you planning on going anything for Halloween this year?
No.
Okay.
There's not really a reason.
You are just at your family's house, yeah. I might dress up. Me and my friends, because I live with like 3 other people, so we might like have a fun little spooky night. I don't know what we would do. We'd just watch a movie or something and dress up, but...
Yeah. What were you last year?
Last year, last year I went as Donkey Kong, but ordered a kid-sized costume. And immediately... kind of, yeah. It was like... it was the only one that would get there on time, and it was like not $100, which was like the adult one that would have gotten there on time. And I was like, I'm not going to spend...
because... it was probably $100 because it had enough material for an adult.
Yeah, but so I bought the kids one. There is a picture of me in it, but I ripped it like immediately. And so I just had like this really tight... I honestly don't think I wore the bottoms because it was like wearing leggings, you know? Anyway, I was like, I'm not doing this in front of all these people. But yeah, it was... I lost. Yeah. The most humiliating part about that night is that I lost first round in that costume. And that's a very embarrassing thing to have happen. So I'm just like, oh, all right.
Yeah, honestly, this Patagonia sweater could be the top for a Donkey Kong costume.
That's what I was saying. Like, this is a better costume than last year's.
Yeah, because it also makes it look like you're like a little bit more jacked than you actually are.
Yeah. All right, well.
You just pop some little pillows in there?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to go as this year, though. I wanted to do something Twin Peaks themed, but I don't have any friends that are into it, so it would just be pointless. I want to go with something like kind of niche, like maybe like a Mario Kart item. I want to be one of those. Do you think
that for Twin Peaks, like 2 friends would each go as one peak?
That's not a bad idea. Anyways, that's, I guess, enough intro for today. It's enough of nothing.
And then you cut it, and it's actually like 1 minute of usable intro.
Well, last week, I don't know if anyone noticed. I think one person noticed on the subreddit, but I actually cut like the whole episode. Like, not the whole, I didn't cut the whole thing. I just like
you cut it.
It was like
no, only one person noticed. The episode was 2 minutes long.
But I like cut it up, so it like flowed well, and yeah, so I'll probably do that to this one.
What did the one person who noticed say?
They said, well, someone said, someone was making a theory. I think it was Obama, to be honest, in the subreddit, and he was like, Karsten is the poopatrator from that poop pool story, and he cut up the episode to cut out all the moments he was caught lying, so that it made it seem like a believable story or something like that. And they're wrong. I never did that. I would never do that. I wanted to be at that meet. I got the coach's award that year. Anyways.
The coach's award for not pooping in the pool.
Only kid on the team that didn't poop in the pool. Low bar this year, but Karsten gets congrats. Thanks. Yeah, today we're talking about In the Mood for Love. It's a 2000 film. It's not 2002. Directed by Wong Kar-wai. And the synopsis reads, in 1962, journalist Chow Mo-wan and his wife move into a Hong Kong apartment, but Chow's spouse is often away on business. Before long, the lonely Chow makes the acquaintance of the alluring Su Li-jun, whose own significant other also seems preoccupied with work. As the two friends realize their respective partners are cheating on them, they begin to fall for one another. However, neither wants to stoop to the level of the unfaithful spouses. So it's like a little spicy romance flick. You might be asking why I picked this one, Jeff, because it feels like kind of off-brand for what we usually pick.
It does feel off-brand.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking when I was watching it. I was like, this feels kind of off-brand.
I just have been recommended it more times than I can count. It's like one of the most recommended on my channel and on my Twitch streams. Like, people are always asking me like what I think of it and like if I've seen it and like what I think of Wong Kar-wai. And I have never seen it, and it's one of those that I just wanted to kind of check off my list and talk about on the podcast.
Yeah, let's do it.
Jeff, what did you think about it?
I wish that I watched it last night instead of today, because this is a film more than almost any other film where I realized I need to see it twice to really understand what is going on. I
completely agree, because there's a lot going on in this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like it moves aggressively fast. Not something I expected.
The just when you're introduced to all of the characters in the beginning, I felt like I couldn't really comprehend like the relationships that were happening in front of me, where I was like playing catch up the rest of the film.
Yeah.
So that was my issue. I was like, okay, I know who this is now. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But it was yeah. So that's what I'm gonna say just as an introduction. How did you feel?
So the thing about this movie is this is the first time I've seen it, but I've been seeing like bits and pieces in like classes for years, and I've also started it I think 3 separate times. And like one time I was too tired and I was like, I'm not in the mood for love. And I'm simply not in the mood. And the other 2 times I think I just had something to do, or it just also wasn't the time. Cause like in like the first 10 minutes, so much is like the editing is very,
it's so fast,
all over the place. The camera's moving and like panning and every shot. And I'm just like, who is that? What is their role? What's going on?
And at the same time, you have to be reading subtitles as well, which obviously is not an issue in and of itself. It's just when the pacing of the film is so fast, it's hard like visually to keep track of everything that's going on. Yeah.
The thing about this movie is that like every shot is doing so much. Like it's always like some sort of visual metaphor, like most shots in here.
Oh yeah.
As well as like every like the dialogue is always got like, it's got something to say about the character, like where they are. So it definitely needs to be seen twice, because it's like
and
so
also
much
just, like,
to take
in. Cinematography is so deliberate.
Yeah.
And it's very unconventional in a lot of ways. This was a lot.
It was.
So I feel like we need to preface this, at least on my end, saying that this is someone who has seen the film one time.
Yeah, this is just a right off the bat reaction.
Yeah, this is a discussion for people who have also seen the film one time.
Yeah, if you're expecting an explanation, go
then
as
you'll
usual.
tune into Karsten's video that he's going to make on it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just committed to you making an entire video on it.
Yep. Got it. That'll be what I do this week. No, I really like it though. I'm trying to think of, I guess, on your point about the cinematography and how like intentional and deliberate it all is. A fun fact about this that I learned through a Nerd Writer video, and honestly, I could have misinterpreted this and I could be wrong in some spaces, but this took, I think a lot of it was written like on the spot. And he came up with the shots, like a lot of it was made in the process of making it rather than traditional, like you write the script and plan it all, and it took them 15 months, I think, total to just kind of go through and form the story as they went. And I think that's crazy, especially considering just how, like you said, deliberate all of it feels. It feels just so tightly paced, and
that's very funny that it took that long.
Yeah.
Especially because the ending, and I don't think that for a 20-year-old film we need to worry about spoilers.
No.
But they went to Angkor Wat at the end.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, this is taking 15 months. Okay, let's go to Angkor Wat now. We need the shot at Angkor Wat. Because it didn't, like, I got obviously there was the metaphor with the stick, whispering into the wall.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you needed it to be an Angkor Wat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For any reason other than it was very pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it paid off. It just, that's funny.
Yeah, I was there a year ago. I should have, if I saw this before, I would have whispered into the wall.
Yeah.
I shoved some mud in there, and like someone tackles, a security guard just tackles me. It's like, stop shoving mud into Angkor Wat.
You're like, but the movie. Have you seen the movie?
They kicked me out of Angkor
Wat. The thing about, so like I said, this is just my first time, and I feel like I would love this so much more on a second watch. But
I agree.
As of now, I really admire and appreciate this and think it's like a very impressive and unique movie. Yes. And I guess it's not your typical like romance film, Like when I think of like my favorite romance films, I think of like Punch Drunk Love and like the Before trilogy, which make me feel like very strong feelings. This, I didn't feel anything strong, but I was like, I see why people.
Yeah. I think it's more impressive. It's weird because it's not something that makes you feel a lot of, it doesn't elicit a lot of feelings in me, but it more elicits like mental geometry of how impressive of a film it is to connect all these different concepts and the way it follows the characters in this unique way, where it's more of a logical phenomenon to me than it is this like touching film.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not to say I don't feel anything. I mean, I think that the cultural, in like the way these characters live and like the reason they're kind of holding each other at a distance is there's some like the fact that it takes place in 1960s Hong Kong. You kind of feel that culturally, that has a lot to do with the way that they kind of hold each other away from each other, even when they're kind of feeling things, and just the cultural norms that exist in that place at that time.
Yeah.
So that does play into it, but I think for me more than anything, it is just an impressive story that's being told.
Totally. Yeah. I was thinking the same thing throughout. I was like, it's almost down to like a science how this film works.
Yeah.
Like the way he is so hyper aware of what comes after and before every shot and how he's going to film that and how long he's going to take to do what he needs to do in each shot. Like it's very careful and intentional and impressive as hell. Like it's such I can't believe like someone made this. It just feels kind of, I feel distant from the characters.
Yes.
Which isn't a bad thing, although I think I'm alone in that because I know a lot of people probably feel the opposite. That's how I felt watching this.
Right. And this isn't the theme of this film isn't necessarily love, which is more of a universal emotion.
Mm-hmm.
It's this very specific scenario where like love is just one of the elements.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's not necessarily something that I can relate to.
Right. It's also, like I said, just a different kind of love movie, just a romance film. In that it's kind of seen as like, it's not, like you said, it's not about love necessarily. It's about just like how that, it's hard to describe because it's like, it's kind of like a villain in the film to an extent. I mean, it's not like a bad thing, but it's like, it's a conflict for these two people or four people in reality. But I think it does do a really great job at bringing in like the tension between the two main characters is insane in some scenes, especially like near the end of the first act when they're kind of accepting what's going on and they're walking back in the rain and there's like the grab on the wrist. I think that whole scene, it was like almost frustrating because it just seems like they're so close to doing like indulging and it never gets there. And I thought that was interesting. It's so not what I'm used to, I think, with romance films.
Yeah. And also, of course, because this pacing is different than any film I've seen pretty much. So obviously it's going to be very different than a lot of romance films where I think they have similar pacing, where a scene would just end and then another scene would start and it just was like, okay, this is kind of, it's like almost a jump cut, and that sometimes it would just be the same character in the future now doing something completely unrelated.
Yeah. Oh, it's just, I didn't think this would be as like demanding as it was.
Which I guess that is the perfect way to describe this film. It's just such a dense film.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't like, usually I can kind of just sit back and let the movie like wash over me and I can just be there and experience it. Whereas this, I'm paying attention to every single thing that's going on.
Yeah, you're like an active participant.
Yeah, because I have to, I feel like, to fully get the experience.
Which I think probably takes away from feeling emotions, you know, like with the film eliciting emotions in you.
Yeah.
Because you feel like you're doing work during the film to understand the film.
Yeah. And that's fine. It's a totally, like, I guess it works in the context of what this is doing. I hate to compare it to, like, Before Sunrise because they're just two completely different. And, like, Before Sunrise is about the opposite thing pretty much. But that's a movie where I just completely, I don't have to think that hard. Like, I can if there's a lot going on, but yeah.
I still need to see.
Yeah, you haven't seen it. But but it's just,
which my roommates were watching it a few months ago, and then they already had started it and didn't tell me, so then I didn't watch it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was like, oh, what is this? And then it was like already 30 minutes in, and I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, it's
30 minutes in.
Unfortunate. But yeah, I don't know. I've said this like 5 different times now. I was not prepared or used to this kind of movie. And I think that applies to all of this man's movies. I mean, I've only seen one other, and it was Chungking Express. I'm assuming you haven't seen it. No, it's.
What if I was like, I've seen them all? I did research for this episode,
but you haven't seen this one, yeah.
No.
Yeah, and that one also has like this very strong following, and I like this a lot more than that one. I just couldn't really get into that. But for the same reasons, I feel like I was more just appreciative of the style and approach to filmmaking as opposed to like getting into the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still thought this was really great. I just feel like I'm not on the same train that everybody else is. But I'm sure maybe on a second watch I'll like it a lot more.
That's what I feel like when I have to do less work to keep up with it. I think I might be able to feel the film more than just watching it.
Yeah. I guess I was also just expecting it to be more about like them as like two people and as a pair. I was really ready for that, but it's really about each of them individually more than anything. And I think the ending kind of drives that home. Like, it's really a movie about just two very lonely people and like a kind of like a what could have been thing. Yeah. And yeah.
What if in the end of the film they played Eleanor Rigby and it was just like all the lonely people? It would just ruin the movie. They only do that for like the English, like the one with the English subtitles.
Everybody's like, oh, interesting choice.
They're like, oh, the Beatles. I love this song. Yeah. Just the most on the nose song that's ever been played at a movie that's like a serious film.
Yeah. I think that if you were to like pitch this kind of movie on paper, like with a plot like that, it could have been really bad. I guess like it could have gone in a lot of different directions. So I do appreciate just how unique it was. But yeah, I don't know. I think I've said a lot of what I have to say about it already.
I have a question for you.
Okay. I'm scared.
Of all of the films that we've done on Karstcast, which film do you think is the most similar to this one? Because I have an answer.
Hitch.
Kazam. No, that's not. That's not. I was
like,
answer.
Wow. What was the answer?
First Cow.
Wait, why? I'm trying to
why?
think.
Because they both have cows in them. No, it's because I mean they're both to an extent these slice of life films where a lot of the interactions in the films aren't necessarily these world altering things. It's just things that happen in life.
That is something yeah I really like that about this, and I love movies like that where it kind of puts very small subtle things that happen to you through a cinematic perspective and really drive home how significant they can feel in the right context. And this is
because when things are shot on things that are seemingly uninteresting can become interesting if they're just shot and put into a specific context. That works.
And to be fair, this just gets that. I think it gets the tension and like aching desire between the two. Yeah. I
mean, I would say an example of that in other cinema is that normally a rhino pooping is not interesting, but when Ace Ventura is the one coming out of the rhino, contextually that makes it interesting.
Right. We were thinking, I was just going to say the same thing.
It's all about context and just being specific.
Yeah. I was just watching Ace Ventura for my Jim Carrey video, and that's a crazy movie.
With Dan Marino.
Yeah. Okay. Have you ever seen The Cable Guy? It's that one Jim Carrey movie. I had to screen record some of it for the video, but I'd never seen it, and it looked pretty good. Looked kind of interesting.
Yeah. You watched Man on the Moon then?
I didn't actually. That's another one. I didn't actually
That's one of the best ones.
I know. Well, the video was more about his specific joke telling and
okay,
comedy.
Yeah. So that's not at all. That's him literally doing Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, it wasn't about Jim Carrey's performances. It was about how he does comedy. But I did screen record Man on the Moon, and I've seen Jim and Andy the documentary twice, but have never seen Man on the Moon. So I should probably watch Man on the Moon.
Yeah, it's a very interesting experience.
Yeah. Are you? I don't know much about Andy Kaufman, to be honest. Are you familiar with?
I'm medium familiar.
Okay. Seems like a funny guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting comedic style that at the time was groundbreaking, and now it's just what Conor O'Malley does, kind of.
Yeah.
The problem is no one can do that comedic style anymore. Where it's hard to describe, but it's effectively pretending that you're kind of a crazy person. Where the audience the people who are in on the joke, the fact that they're in on the joke is the most of the joke.
Yeah. Well,
like that is the primary joke, is that you're in on the joke, and that you know that some people aren't in on the joke. So they're like, oh, the joke is that these people think this guy's crazy when I know he's just pretending to be crazy.
Mm-hmm. The other thing about him, and I could be wrong about this from my limited knowledge about Andy Kaufman, is that he seems like one of the key figures in like anti-comedy or whatever that means, where it's like kind of making fun of jokes. And I feel like that is also something that's harder to pull off now, because I think so much of that relies on like being on a stage that's where comedy's already expected, and to be on like the internet where it's like anything's accessible, I think it makes it harder to drive that idea home.
I think that the place where that still works is Twitter, because it's an anti-comedy is a weird way of putting it, just because some people think of that as like jokes that don't have punchlines, that are just dumb.
Yeah.
But it's also, I think a lot of it's character driven, where, you know, at least now obviously it's kind of expected, but the fact that Dan White, the way he phrases his tweets is as a real person on Twitter.
Yeah.
And it's because on Twitter, you don't necessarily know if the person's like a real person or not.
Right.
So part of the joke for Dan White is that you can read this through the eyes of someone who doesn't know who he is, and then reads it as a serious tweet, where you're like, oh, this is like, would be insane if some guy's nephew like tricked him into, you know, shoving an apple up his ass.
Yeah. Yeah. I would just also like to say, speaking of Dan White, another podcast plug is their new podcast, Improv is Dead, is really funny. I listened to the first episode.
I've only listened to a little bit of it, so I need to finish it. Okay. But yeah, it's good.
I listened to it. It's really funny.
Yeah, I plugged it on Twitter without listening to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, okay. I was going to plug it. I knew it was going to be good.
Quick question. Are you a patron? I'll cut this.
Of Dan White?
Yeah. Or no, for the Improv is Dead? Okay. Because I became a patron because I just was like, I should support it. And in the Patreon episode, they were listing off like 5 patrons, and they were like, yeah, nah, and Jeff. And I was like, is that
not me?
That Jeff? No, it's not Jeff. Okay. Yeah.
It's probably Jeff Murdoch.
Who I don't know who that is.
So he's the one of the guys in Tool House.
Oh, okay.
The one with glasses.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I used to shoot his, like, he would do auditions. So, like, one time he like sent an audition for the TV show AP Bio before that was made. And he was just he was doing the audition, and I just, like, filmed it in my kitchen.
That's so funny. Wow. Anyways, that's In the Mood for Love. Unless, do you have anything else to...
That'd be so funny. Because we just had a completely unrelated conversation for a couple minutes.
Keeping it all the way up to the Improv is Dead plug.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you feeling for a score here? Well, first of all, time of day rating, because this could be an interesting time of day. Yeah.
Well, this one can't be too early or too late, because you need to be full attention. So I think like a nice 7 o'clock after dinner type.
Yeah. I was going to say this is a great, like, kind of, this is you're doing this tonight, you know?
Yeah.
You're going to go to the movies and really just absorb
and you're going to
think.
You're going to read and think.
Yeah, you're going to be like, let's figure this out.
It's kind of the cinematic equivalent of reading a book. Where you have to do a lot of the work yourself.
And the payoff is great. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't mean that just because it has subtitles.
Yeah,
I just mean the mental
a lot going
aspect
on.
Of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because obviously this film was not necessarily made for people who speak English. It was, you know,
it's a movie.
They don't have. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure people didn't think I was making like the Parasite thing where people are like, oh,
it's got subtitles.
I don't want to read.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say, like, I watch so many movies with subtitles, and the only time it's ever been annoying is Cold War, because that movie is so beautiful and the shots are insane.
That you think the subtitles...
Well, yeah, because I'm like... Yeah, because it's like the shots are so good, and I'm like, I just have to... Okay, that's what's going on? All right. And I also saw that at the Music Box, and a guy's big bald head was in front of the subtitles, so I was like, yeah, that was the only time I've ever been like, damn, I wish this was at home.
What if the subtitles were like rainbow colored?
It's gonna be the Karstcast movie because we have the rainbow.
Yeah, it's the most distracting subtitles imaginable, and like the colors also change. They like pulse during while they're on the screen.
What's going on?
It's like a sing along video.
It's like karaoke, so you have to read it to the beat.
It has a microphone bouncing on the words as they're spoken.
Yeah, so I would also give this a strong 7 p.m. As for a score, I'm gonna say like a 4 out of 5. Yeah. Yep.
That's what I'm going with.
Yep.
If people are watching this in the video, since I did this before you said it sounded like I was like feeding you like information.
Yeah, I was like 4.
Like, I put up 4 fingers.
4 out of 5.
Like, I'm gonna say it's a 4. Is that a 4?
Reading off the Jeff teleprompter. Great audio. That does it for In the Mood for Love. I do recommend checking it out. I don't know if it'll still be. I also picked this because the New York Film Fest they were showing this as like a revival, or because someone just recently restored it in like 4K or something. But it's also available on HBO Max. If you haven't seen it, I do recommend it. And I look forward to checking out more Wong Kar-wai movies. He also like is one of the coolest looking directors. He always has these sunglasses. I don't know. He looks like a cool guy. Anyways, that does it for the movie.
I don't know why I thought this, but when you said 4K, for me that sounded like you were pretending to say the word fork in like a different language.
The four.
Like, yeah, just say something in French and just say like 4K.
4K? Spooné? Yeah, anyways.
Like, oh, oui. Je suis 4K.
I guess we'll get into questions. These come.
Oh, and I do have an announcement that I talked to you about. I'm not just going rogue and making an announcement, but going
where's
forward,
it going?
we're doing a slight restructure of the $15 patron level because I think that when we created it, we did not think anyone would actually do that, like actually pay that much to us.
Yeah.
And now that people do, we want to make sure that it's more appealing, and that what we're going to do is make sure that the questions they ask, we're going to do once a month where we answer their question on the main podcast rather than just the patron only one.
Yep. So that's just a news for all $15 patrons. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. I was like, what could this announcement be? But yeah, that will start like next week or so.
Yes.
But this week, these all come from the Karstcast subreddit. Head on over there. There have been a lot of memes this week. So yeah, this first one comes from Stop Motion Samurai, and it is, as people who are into both music and film, who are the Joker fans of the music world? I'm curious to hear your answer.
So I think that right off the bat, my thought went too extreme, and I was gonna say Insane Clown Posse. But the thing is that Joker fans aren't that much outsiders, right? They're people that are almost mainstream, but just really like lame and unoriginal. Where that's kind of because Joker's not a bad movie. It's just the most like average movie ever. It's fine.
It's a movie that,
but it's you go.
I was just gonna say it makes people feel edgier than they are, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's a band that most people like but don't love, and then you just decided to like really go hard and love that band.
Okay.
So I'm trying to think of what band fits that, but that's like my thought process of who that would be. So I'm going to keep thinking, and then you kind of say your thing.
Well, maybe this is mean. You know what? Well, okay, I have two answers. The first one that came to mind are, and I don't know if you know who this is, but XXX Tentacion fans. He's got a really just edgy, annoying fan base that has been annoying since he kind of blew up. Some of my least favorite fan bases on the internet. But actually, I think a more accurate one would be like Kanye West and his fan base. Because similar to Joker, I don't dislike Kanye's music. I just think the fan base and the things surrounding it could just be awful and really lazy and misunderstood. Sometimes not so. But I guess that, and it's also just such a big like cultural phenomenon, the same way Kanye as a public figure, I think, is.
Yeah. No, that's a fair point.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a much better answer to that, though.
Yeah. I mean, the only answer I came up with was it would be people who, because I think it's people to an extent who like something just because of they want to be part of the image of liking that thing.
Uh-huh.
And so I was thinking about people who are like big fans of the Strokes' recent albums.
Hey, I really like the new Strokes album, for the record. I think it's really good. But go on.
Yeah, no, it's just because obviously their first two albums are far and away their best work.
They're good, yeah.
I feel like it's just part of the Strokes now is just buying into the image of like the garage rock band from the early 2000s and just trying to pretend that you're recapturing that.
That's okay. Yeah. That's not the answer I was expecting at all, but all right. You know what? I take it back. I'm going to say current Eminem fans, I think, are because I think most of them also are very big Joker fans because they're like, oh, I'm got my twisted mind listening to these raps. Yeah. that's my answer for that.
My twisted mind.
I can't say this because my very first album I ever bought on iTunes was Eminem's Recovery Deluxe Edition, which is famously like his worst album.
What about Black Eyed Peas fans?
Okay, wait. Me and my friends, my roommates, we were just talking about this. We were like, you know, the Black Eyed Peas put out a new album this year? They did.
They did?
Yeah. They put out a whole new album. And one of the songs, you've probably heard it. It's actually really popular. It's not bad. It's the one that's like...
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
very
actually do
generic.
know what you're talking about.
The one that's like...
You should put a whole album out of you just doing that. It's like the Karsten Kids Bop.
Black Eyed Peas covers.
It's like an a cappella cover.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Oh my god. Black Eyed Peas also one of the first artists who I bought music from on iTunes. Specifically Boom Boom Pow. Anyways, that I didn't expect us to have a big answer for that one, but there you go.
Yeah. Wait, what about Vin Diesel?
Okay, wait, that's another thing that happened this week. Have you seen the video?
I haven't seen the video.
Oh my god.
I heard the song.
Yeah, he put out a song. It's really bad, but someone like I forget what talk show host did it, but they've been doing like these virtual audiences where they have these giant panels where it's just people.
Oh, I did see that.
And they're like, dancing to Vin Diesel's new music. It's like the creepiest video.
Yeah.
This next one comes from El Momento de Owen. Do you assign colors to things that normally don't have colors assigned to them? Example, I do that with decades. 90s equal red, 80s equal purple, etc. I really like this question because that is something that I do that I never talk about. But do you do that? Do you do the same thing?
No, I don't do that.
You actually not?
I
That's
don't
so
do that
crazy.
at all. I didn't know anyone did that.
I associate like different days of the week with colors. Like Friday is
all right,
orange.
I'm gonna ask you a couple.
Okay. I'm prepared.
Tuesday.
Red. Tuesday is always red.
I don't know. Red feels like a Sunday. You know why? I just realized why I think red is Sunday.
Why?
It's because Tiger Woods would always wear red on Sunday.
Oh my god.
You know what? I'm
changing your answer.
Wednesday?
Wednesday's usually like a turquoise, like, or light blue kind of.
You know what? I'm gonna just based off that, I'm gonna give a recommendation.
Okay.
If you're ever in the Roscoe Village area, there's a Turkish restaurant called Turquoise that's very good.
Huh. I've never been there. And I live.
Yeah, I've been there a few times, but so the thing is, they make their own bread, and they also make their own like kind of carrot, like dipping thing for the bread, and it's like the best bread I've ever had in my life.
Wow, that sounds so good, actually.
It's very good. So, anyways, Saturday.
Saturday's usually like also a light blue, kind of closer to gray though.
Okay, let me know the process of how you got to this.
So what I'm realizing is the reason I associate these different days are like a go-to. Like I could answer all of these immediately. And it's because I think when I went to school in elementary school, you know how in the classrooms they have all those like they have like clocks and the days of the week and the months.
Yeah, I do know how they have clocks in a classroom.
What I'm saying is I think those like little things they have on the walls, like they had different colors for each day. And because that's where I learned like the building blocks of life, I always associate it with the colors of whatever those panels
were. I mean, I guess that makes sense for some things, but it sounds like you associate a lot of things with colors.
Well, I agree with the decades thing. I think 90s are like a dark purple, 80s are dark blue, 70s orange, 2000s red, 60s green. 60s are always green, and 50s are turquoise. And 40s, 30s, 20s, 10s, and the original zeros, it's all black and white.
Okay.
No, wait,
I feel 30s, like what you're doing is going with like a color palette from what you see from videos.
Well, maybe a little bit. 60s, always green. And also the number 3 is always yellow.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, for me, the number 1 is always yellow.
No.
That was a joke.
Number 2 is
brown. Number 2 is brown.
Yeah.
Okay, so honestly, you keep saying things have these colors, but none of this seems like it has any logical basis.
No, it doesn't. I'm just like, this is like naturally you have the colors associated with things. But I'm trying to think of other, I think that's it though. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. December is pink. And
yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough.
That. Cool. That answers that. I guess I thought more people related to this than I thought.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's you, the person asking the question, versus me. So we're 2-1 right now because that's the only people we've asked.
I'm very curious to see what people respond to when they listen to this, if they make it this far. Yeah. Lily Hearn asks, if you could only read books or watch TV for the rest of your life, which would you pick?
Does TV include movies?
I'm going to assume it's just TV. Yeah.
So is this that's the only thing you can do, or the things that aren't mentioned in this question you can also do? So like you can also watch movies if you pick books.
I don't know.
Or is this like your only hobby?
I think you have to get I think you get the rest of what is out there. You just have to get rid of one of these things, I think.
Okay.
And I would get rid of TV.
Yeah?
Personally. Yeah, because I feel like I'm not a big TV watcher to begin with, especially if I already have movies. And it's like books. Because the thing is, TV, if I've already seen all of The Office, for example, not the example.
It's the one example.
The only example, yeah. I like, me personally, I don't revisit it. I'm like, I've seen those. I know a lot of people do, but I don't. But a book, it's like, usually a book is like In the Mood for Love, where I don't get 100% of it. I'll most likely revisit a book in my life before I do a TV show. So, yeah.
The thing, though, is that a lot of stuff on, Netflix is technically TV. So, like, Stranger Things is still TV.
Yeah. I'd assume I'd get rid of Stranger Things and Barry and Breaking Bad.
Yeah. I think I have to get rid of books because I have ADD, so I don't read anyways because
it's
like it's kind of an event for me. I have to like take medication to be able to read properly.
Yeah. I should get back on my ADD meds. This isn't podcast talk. Yeah. I made it a goal to read more this year, which is why I've been better this year than I have usually been. Right now I'm reading Slaughterhouse-5.
Also, books. What about audiobooks? You
I'm
probably don't get those. I don't think those are fair game, because that's effectively just hearing a book.
Yeah, I guess we can count those out.
Yeah. So you got those with that choice, but yeah, I think I got to stick with TV. I watch a medium amount of TV.
That's fair. Yeah.
And also, if I didn't watch TV, how would I watch all the HGTV with my parents? It's like the one thing everyone can agree on is watching House Hunters. I need that.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That does it for questions. Thanks, everybody. I had a blizzard right before this, and it's just now kind of settling in my system.
Yeah. Honestly, like, this mocha draft latte is doing the same thing. We're both just, like, sitting here, like, kind of like going,
we'll get into the wrap-up. We usually read a review to encourage you guys to leave reviews. Sorry to all the non-US people leaving reviews. Chartable has not been working for the past 2 weeks, so I haven't really been able to check on those. But maybe one day. This one.
And feel free to send us your review if you really want it read. If you're, if you're
itching
an
for
international listener.
Yeah. Yawn of the day. That's not the review, for the record. Man from
boring.
Man from Uncle asks. Well, not asks. Subject line is, what a scam. 5 stars. And it is, I was excited to see that there was a Norwegian podcast about movies on iTunes. I was, however, terribly surprised when I heard that Karsten is not Norwegian. What is this? April Fools? The only reason I'm not giving this podcast 1 star is because I don't want to mess up their average score. The Jeff character was also a nice addition. I really enjoyed listening to his smooth voice. Yeah, thank you. Man from Uncle. Yeah.
When I just started talking like that, I got a huge ego about my voice. I'm like, thank you, man from Uncle. This is Jeff.
That's how he always sounds.
Off.
Yeah.
Nothing weird here.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Next, we'd like to... you know what? We don't have a movie for next week yet. We didn't really talk about that.
Yeah, we do.
Did we? We do?
We did.
I forgot already.
Dolphin Tale.
Yep. Next week, we're talking about Dolphin Tale. I did forget about this. So...
I'm in?
Jeff is in. Yep. Let's see. Wait.
I think. Actually, I haven't seen it, so I don't know if I actually made the final cut. But I could have cut him. Should be in crowd shots. I'm at least in the trailer.
From what I know, you cannot rent, or you can't stream this anywhere. I think you have to rent it, but it's worth it because Jeff is in it. So, or you could buy it for $4 on DVD.
I'm not credited.
No.
But you're just gonna have to trust me.
All right. So that's that. And lastly, we'd like to thank our patrons. If you want to become a patron and help support the podcast, go to patreon.com/Karstcast, where you can get exclusive access to bonus episodes, Q&As. If you pledge $15, you'll get your question read and answered in the normal episodes. What if we just read it and didn't answer it?
Yeah.
That'd be really...
You'll have your question read.
Yeah. Good question. Next question. Kidding. And shout outs at the end of every episode. It's a good time. A lot of fun times. And the Zoom hangouts, which, as you can tell, were a lot of fun this last week. But right now is that shout out. So thank you, Allison Grace, Annabelle Falk, Bex, Blake Root, Boat, Brandon Yu, Brock Schultz, Cameron Mason McCurdy, Camilla Drew Jackson, Eden, Fozzie Bear, Grant Gow, Holly Edwards, Iron Tusk 93, Isabel, Iva, Jacob Colness, John Van Hout, Joshua Kruzwicki, Josie Eiler, KDT, Kevin Turner, Kiana, Liqui, Liv Rob, Lucian Vicina, Luke Vineyard, Maddie Robertson, Martin Deff, Marilee Borslow, Michael Decker, Moses Ox, Monroe Page, Pablo Patel, Parks, Ready Steady, Ernie, Robert Burke, Sam Farr, Sophia Arieta, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, Smitty Werbin, Jagerman Jensen, Taylor Hardy, 10 billion. This is like listening to Sardonicast at Karsten Runquist's house. Toad Pimp, Vegard Strom, Vera S. Yolki Sasquatch, and Yusef A. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, quick shout out to 10 Billion, who is incredible at GeoGuessr.
Yeah, 10 Billion is
unbelievable. That's the like, real GeoWizard.
Crazy. For a second, I was like, is 10 Billion GeoWizard?
Yeah,
damn.
10 Billion was like, okay, point the camera up so I can see the sun, and then I could tell you what hemisphere we're in. I'm like, okay, we'll do.
But yeah, thanks everybody. And Jeff, do you have anything? Well, okay. Also, last week to get early access. Well, yeah, early access to hats, or are we done? Okay.
Wednesday is the day I believe that we're gonna flip the hat ordering to everyone. So if you are a patron or want to ensure you get a hat, you know, it's patrons only orders up until Wednesday of this week. Mm-hmm. And then we're flipping it to everyone, right?
Yep. So,
perfect.
Yeah, be on the lookout for that. And I think that'll do. Jeff, do you have anything else to say?
Yeah. Real quick, though, do you ever think about how the word patron is just a combination of the names Pat and Ron?
Think about that every day of my life.
Catch you on the flip side.
Catch you on the flip side.
Flip side.